HomePods are now available for order, and luckily, I've got several of them headed this way right now. It's been a long time considering that the HomePod was first released in June of 2017. Now we're nearing the end of January, and just now are they finally on their way. And I think a lot of people are kind of wondering, Drew, how are you going to get HomePods to compete with your Google Assistant devices? So I thought I probably should update you guys on the situation that is the Google smart home speakers right now. I regret to announce that this is not a fake, this is not a joke. I'm not just saying this because I may be mad at Google for some reason, but literally a couple days after I published my review of all of the Google Home smart speakers, between the Home Max, the Google Home Minis, how they've been working and controlling lights in our office and stuff like that, and listening to music on them. Literally just a couple days after that, we started having quite a bit of issues with them. Biggest issue that still happens to this day, the Google Home Minis will go off like we said hello Google, even though Google was not even brought up. Constantly we hear the little chime across the room, across the hall, all the time, and it's annoying because we can't recreate it. We'll be watching a movie or something and it'll get set off, and we'll recreate the line from the movie that was playing and nothing happens. So I don't know if they rolled out an update to them so that if they don't get used very much, maybe they become hypersensitive to anything, just so that the consumer remembers they exist. The Home Mini just goes, hey, I'm still here, keep using me, keep using me. But in return, it's just been kind of annoying. It's like, stop. But the biggest problem, sadly, is actually with the Home Max, the most expensive of the Google Home smart speakers, clocking in at $400. Google even made a statement about this. The Home Max was actually killing Wi-Fi networks and disconnecting massive amounts of smart home devices from Wi-Fi networks for some reason. Just some form of glitch caused the Home Max to interfere with other Wi-Fi signals, and in return could not connect to Wi-Fi itself. So if you've been watching my vlogs over on Tailosive Talks, I did a few comedy bits on how the Home Max just disconnects from the internet all the time, and whenever you say hello Google, it just goes, I'm sorry, I cannot connect to the internet right now. So we were kind of bummed out about that. We're like, oh, this really cool speaker I've been liking is having internet problems now. I don't even know if it can update itself if it's having internet problems, but perhaps we can still use it as a Bluetooth speaker, because you can just go to settings, pair that speaker under the Bluetooth mode, and use it as a regular Bluetooth speaker, right? Well, even that started glitching out. If you've watched some of my tech streams in the past, you know that I've tried to demo that, and now the Home Max has a hard time connecting via Bluetooth unless we do a hard reset on it. So that started getting annoying, and on top of that, I was so sick of the Home Max, I was just like, okay, it's not good at internet now, it's not good at Bluetooth, might as well just ditch the smartness of it, because it doesn't seem to be very smart anymore, and just make it a dedicated TV speaker. We have a 4K TV right over here. The speakers on it are okay. We've been using the UE Mega Boom as its dedicated speaker, which works fine. But we thought, for watching cool movies and stuff, why not just plug the Home Max's aux port directly into the TV, and then the Google Home Max can be just a dedicated movie watching speaker. Because that's why they threw on the aux cord, right? So after a couple days of searching, I finally found an aux cord. I thought I had burned them all. And we plug it into the TV, and we plug it into the Home Max. And for some reason, the Home Max's volume is like a fraction of what it normally is. I always complimented the Home Max on how loud and how clear it sounded. For some reason, when it's going through the aux cord, it sounds very quiet. And on top of that, there's a huge latency issue where there's a good couple of seconds between what's happening on the screen and what's coming out of the speaker. I checked, and Google also has made statements about the fact that the Home Max has a huge latency issue with its aux port. So this is very much frustrating me. And at this point, we're like, okay, we're not using the Home Max for anything. We can't use it as an aux cable. The Bluetooth speaker is annoying because you have to factory reset it every time, and now it doesn't connect to the internet constantly. So my current plan is to either send it in as defective or hope a firmware update comes out soon to it and fixes it, and either way, probably still want to sell it because of the HomePods that are coming out. And hearing about what people say about the HomePod, there's been a limited number of people who have experimented with them, who have tested with prototypes, and one statement a particular user made really gets me excited to see how cool the HomePods actually sound. They wrote, the Home Max is a pretty good speaker, but the HomePod is in another league. The Home Max has some great features as a normal speaker, but its dispersion pattern isn't terribly unique. It does calibrate very well to the room, but only changes the frequency response to the speaker to match this, something that Sonos has also figured out. However, the HomePods are directional tweeters and room reflection to beamform the sound. The level of immersion is just totally different. So to hear that it's on a whole different level sounds really interesting to me, and I can't wait for later in the year when an update comes out to the HomePod so that they they can be paired with each other to form a stereo sound setup. So either way, I'm getting some kind of money back on the Home Max, so that's why I was up for buying a second HomePod. I was already planning on buying one, and then mid-live stream last night, we actually had an anonymous donation of someone who wanted me to buy a third one, and they covered 60% of the price for it, so major discounted HomePod. You guys are too generous, but now this is great because I ordered 2 space gray ones and 1 white one, so we get to see what all of the colors look like. Now that we have 3, we can put them all over the office and have full immersion with the new HomePod ecosystem now that we're going to be participating in that, even though there's no HomePod minis or HomePod Maxes. Thanks to selling the Max and an anonymous donation, we'll be able to have 3 all over the place, and I think it'd be really cool to have like the 2 space gray ones be my actual dedicated speakers for my iMac Pro, as they are Bluetooth. And the HomePod is definitely a hard sell. I can definitely understand people not being interested in buying one given it starts at $350. There's no cheaper option. Apple rarely does sales, and there is a ton of competition out there that is not horrible, that is very, very cheap. Even though the Home Max has had a ton of problems, the Google Home Minis have been working fine. And again, they were only 30 bucks a piece. Plus you got $25 of Walmart gift card in return, so they were basically $5. If you're buying into that ecosystem and you're just buying a bunch of Home Minis, I don't see the problem other than the fact that they don't sound very good. But I think the HomePods definitely have an emphasis on sound quality. Based on what people are saying about it, it sounds like that's what you're paying that top dollar price for. I don't think you're paying top dollar for that super smart Siri assistant. But to be fair, the Google Assistant hasn't been terribly interesting in my daily life. In fact, even when I liked the Home Max back when it was working, I brought up in my review that the Google Assistant is the last thing I like about it. I like the way it sounds. I like how easy it is to pair to my phone. And again, I like how loud it is. The Google Assistant is just kind of a fun toy, but again, it's a free app you can get on iOS or Android. I don't look at it as an exclusive to anything anymore, so Siri is probably not going to be as smart as the Google Assistant. I think that's a safe bet. If you're buying a smart speaker because you want a digital assistant that's going to tell you how much fat is in a guacamole or how much weight a chipmunk is, just because random facts equals smart, right? If you're interested in that, I guess go with the Google Assistant, but if you're interested in a speaker that's actually going to sound good, that hopefully is going to have an emphasis on being reliable, unlike the Max. Usually when Apple delays a product release, it's because they believe it's not ready yet, so now that Apple believes it is ready for shipping, I think it's because they feel like they've nailed it. They've got something that's really going to work. And of course, this will all blow up in my face when all the HomePods are having issues. But one bit of good news is it doesn't seem to be selling out terribly fast, so if you're still interested in buying one, you did not have to stay up till 5:30 in the morning and completely screw up your sleep schedule, because as of right now, when I'm recording this, you can still pick them up at most Apple stores on February 9th or get them delivered to you by February 9th. So 2 weeks from today, and I'm just totally pumped. I can't wait to try them. It's not every day that a brand new Apple product lineup is released. I've been very satisfied with AirPods, and I'm hoping that HomePod takes this to a whole new level. My current predictions for sound quality is it will not be as loud as the Google Home Max, but it will sound a lot more clear, and like I said, probably be a bit more reliable. I'm glad that even though Apple puts a headphone jack on the MacBooks and the iPads and the iMac Pro, they don't put a headphone jack on the speaker they sell. That's entirely Bluetooth, which is awesome. Anyway, let me know what you think of the HomePod. I'm pumped for it in the comments below, and I will hopefully see you guys with a live unboxing 2 weeks from today. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.